She'll get here. 2 or 3 minutes. I call this meeting to order. We are going to begin with a closed session. Madam Clerk, would you please announce the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in the school board chamber are Chair Brown, Vice Chair Weems, Mr. Bowensteel, Mr. Callen, Mr. Cummings, Ms. Felton, Dr. Green, and Ms. Rogers.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Culpepper will join us for our formal session, and Ms. Dwyer is on the way. At this time, we're going to read into closed session. Vice Chair Weems, would you please read the motion?
I move that the school board recess into closed session in accordance with exceptions to open meetings law set forth in Code of Virginia 2.2-3711, Part A, paragraphs 1, 7, 8, as amended to deliberate on the following matters. 1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and evaluation of performance of departments or schools of public institutions of higher education, where such evaluation will necessarily involve discussion of the performance of specific individuals. Any teacher shall be permitted to be present during a closed meeting in which there is a discussion or consideration of a disciplinary matter that involves the teacher and some student, and the student involved in the matter is present, provided that the teacher makes a written request to be present at the presiding officer of the appropriate board. Nothing in this subdivision, however, shall be construed to authorize a closed meeting by a local governing body or an elected school board to discuss compensation matters that affect the membership of such body or board collectively. 7, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. For the purpose of this subdivision, probable litigation means litigation that has been specifically threatened or on which the public body or its legal counsel has a reasonable basis to believe will be commenced by or against a known party. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter. 8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to permit the closure of a meeting merely because an attorney representing the public body is in attendance or is consulted on a matter, namely to discuss A, personnel matters, school board attorney's contract, B, status of pending litigation or administrative cases, C, consultation with legal counsel regarding probable litigation and pending litigation matters.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, that motion was Vice Chair Weems, seconded by Ms. Dwyer. So motion by Vice Chair Weems, seconded by Ms. Dwyer. And while she's correcting that, is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I call for the vote to go into closed session.
So, Madam Chair, we have 9 ayes. The motion did pass to go into closed session.
Okay, thank you.
Whereas the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Excuse me. Therefore, now be it resolved that the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered.
Okay, moved by Ms. Dwyer. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Rogers. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call for the votes to certify closed session.
Madam Chair, we have 9 ayes and 1 abstention, so the motion did pass for certification of closed session.
Thank you. We are now on to administrative matters and reports. I have 2 pieces of paper. The orange one is the meetings with the superintendent, and the green one is school visits with the superintendent, and I'm going to pass them to my left to start. Does anybody else have anything to report? Okay. Mr. Bowensteel.
Yeah, at the GRC monthly governing board meeting on October 20th, they addressed several key topics concerning student engagement, community service initiatives, and resource allocation. The head of school report noted a decline in student enrollment, currently at 414, but indicated no immediate concerns regarding absenteeism or discipline. Also, they had some team building excursions where the 11th graders went to Operation Smile and actually get to watch some of the procedures they were doing. And then the 12th graders helped Salvation Army out at the Greenbrier Mall with cleaning up and Angel Tree projects. They also did a field trip, an IBMA field trip, where they got $154,000 worth of scholarships from Randolph College.
Ms. Rogers?
I just wanted to say that I went to the mental health task force this week, and that we are about to be breaking into groups. There's a lot on the table to be discussed and improved upon for our staff and students especially, and so I am looking forward to continuing that work.
Thank you. All right, we are going to move on now to our Department of Teaching and Learning core content update and updated secondary math sequence. And we welcome Thomas Quinn, Executive Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning, and Dr. Lorena Kelly, Executive Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning, and Dr. Catherine Goldberg, Director of Instructional Technology.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Brown, Vice Chair Weems, Dr. Robertson, school board members. My name is Tom Quinn, as mentioned by Chair Brown. I serve as our division's Executive Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning. With me is Dr. Lorena Kelly, Executive Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning, and Dr. Goldberg, Director of Instructional Technology. And joining us this evening are coordinators of Social Studies, Math, and Science. Tonight I'll provide an update on our department's focus for the 25-26 school year, and just know that it is our commitment to keep you aware of the work that we are supporting and ensure it aligns with Virginia standards of learning and all requirements met by the VDOE. Our department supports all academic areas from core subjects and electives to programs such as dual enrollment, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, special education, gifted education, academies, and more. While all teams make data-driven decisions to meet the adjustments required by VDOE, tonight we'll highlight the most significant changes currently taking place to align the expectations of VDOE. These highlights include social studies, science, and computer science. We will also share an in-depth update on secondary mathematics as we see continuous improvement. We'll begin with history and social sciences. The 2025-26 school year marks the full implementation of the 2023 standards, offering a chance to create a rigorous, future-ready social studies experience. To realize these future-ready goals, we believe our staff must have high-quality training and support. By investing in teachers, we ensure they prepare to bring the new standards to life and empower students to think critically, communicate clearly, solve problems creatively, and adapt with confidence. Future ready means students don't just fit into our changing world, they shape it. These photos highlight how our department supports both teachers and students in building future-ready skills. From professional learning to classroom activities, they show the profile of a graduate in action through meaningful, skill-based learning experiences. In the top image, you'll see examples of students creating a storyboard showcasing what they've learned about ancient civilizations and applying critical thinking skills to collaboratively discuss their learning. These are a few examples of the ways in which we believe social studies is evolving into a subject where both knowledge and skills are emphasized and necessary for success. To maintain this momentum and continue down the path towards the highest quality social studies experience in the Commonwealth, coherence and clarity are necessary. Here is what this means for our students. At the elementary level, grade 5 SOL testing is being adjusted by using the locally awarded credit performance-based task in grades 4 and 5, shifting the focus from memorization to application and demonstration of skills. In middle school, alternative assessments will continue in grades 6 and 7, allowing students to show what they know in multiple ways. At the high school level, LAVC2 remains in place across social studies courses, giving students more opportunities to demonstrate mastery and earn verified credits towards graduation. Looking ahead, we plan to leverage House Bill 1957 to implement locally awarded credit performance-based tasks in grade 8, beginning in 26-27, which would allow the civics SOL to be replaced with a performance-based assessment and strengthen our vertical alignment K through 12. For staff, we are making sure they have the support to make the work meaningful. Staff will continue to engage in essential professional learning sessions focused on the new standards, curriculum, and assessment practices. Teachers will receive site-based coaching and data analysis support to monitor progress and drive instructional change. Finally, we'll continue to create and refine high-quality instructional materials and resources that make implementation more impactful. In short, students benefit from more meaningful, consistent, and aligned learning opportunities, while teachers are supported with training, curriculum, and resources needed to make this vision a reality. To achieve this, Virginia Beach City Public Schools has implemented a K-12 social studies course sequence for many years that ensures alignment, continuity, and student success. Please take a moment to review the sequence on the slide. Know this sequence enables students to build content knowledge and historical thinking skills year after year while meeting their developmental needs and readiness levels. Here is a closer look at how our goals for alignment between the standards, the future ready profile, and our assessment practices. We will begin in the 25-26 school year with Virginia Studies. Our shift to performance-based assessments, known as PBA, is a strategic investment in preparing students for real-world success while upholding rigorous academic standards. Unlike standardized tests that measure memorization at a single point in time, these 4 tasks will require students to demonstrate deep understanding through analysis, problem solving, and communication, the very skills needed in high school, college, and careers. The 2-year phased implementation allows us to maintain accountability, strengthen teacher expertise, and refine processes. Students will continue to show mastery of the essential Virginia Studies content, but will now show their learning through authentic products. This approach positions VBCPS as a leader in educational innovation while remaining true to our commitment to academic excellence and future readiness. To clarify, our 5th graders will continue to take the Virginia SOL this year, and then beginning in 26-27, students will transition to locally awarded credit performance-based assessment. And finally, regarding textbooks, the VDOE has not released an updated approved list. We are working to extend the current adoption of 5 Ponds Press and will provide updates as information becomes available. As shared in previous school board meetings, our goal is to extend the success of the locally awarded verified credit 2 or LAVC2 program at the high school level by strengthening alignment across earlier grades. At the elementary level, we are implementing the locally awarded credit, and in middle school, we are continuing the use of alternative assessments in grades 6 and 7. And through House Bill 1957, planning for 8th grade civics to travel in the same direction. Together, these steps create a consistent, vertically aligned assessment plan designed to produce results similar to those we've seen in high schools. The chart on the screen highlights the LAVC2 outcomes from the 24-25 school year. Last year, 8 high schools implemented the program in the courses listed, with 1,980 eligible students participating. Our division achieved a 91.11% success rate. And to clarify, eligible students are those in the LAVC2 program who still require a verified credit. Equally important, the data shows minimal gaps among focus groups. Students with disabilities achieved an 87% success rate, while English language learners achieved at 86%. These results reflect the strength of differentiated practices and our commitment to maintaining high expectations for every student. Looking ahead, we've expanded the program this year to include Cox High School and Princess Anne High School, with additional sites such as Kellam, Ocean Lakes, and Salem prepared to join in the 26-27 school year. As you saw on the previous slide, the LAVC2 has shown high success rates across our division while increasing the level of rigor, specifically through critical thinking-based tasks and written responses. What you see is a sample of the LAVC2 performance task, and please note this is not an actual state question or task, as those are secure test materials. Each task begins with a compelling question that students must answer over class periods. Through these tasks, students engage with a variety of resources and respond to a corresponding supporting questions that build their knowledge and skills towards answering that larger, compelling question. To earn a verified credit through LAVC2, students must successfully pass 3 of 4 rigorous tasks. In addition, they must also pass the course itself and demonstrate mastery of the majority of the course standards. In short, LAVC2 provides students with the challenging pathway to demonstrate their learning and earn a verified credit, not through shortcuts, but through authentic mastery of social studies content and historical thinking skills. In science, we continue to face extended delays in the release of the new standards. Originally scheduled for approval in December of 2024, the proposed standards remain pending, leaving us in a holding pattern. For the 2025 expanded course offerings, environmental science and all level 2 courses such as geology, astronomy, and oceanography will move forward. Courses in the kindergarten through physics sequence, which also include earth science, biology, chemistry, and physics, will not move to the 2025 standards and instead will remain under the 2018 standards. Specifically, earth science and chemistry will remain under the 2018 standards. However, their SOL assessments are aligned to the 2010 blueprints. This will shift in the spring of 26 when the SOL assessments for these subjects are updated to align with the 2018 standards. Now we transition to computer science. The VDE approved the 2024 Computer Science Standards of Learning in June of 2024 with the guidance of full implementation by the 25-26 school year. The standards are organized into 6 content strands: algorithms and programming, computing systems, cybersecurity, data analysis, impacts of computing and networks, and the internet. Within each strand, the standards of learning progress in complexity from the elementary grades through high school. Through these new standards, the goal is to raise our aspirations for computational instruction to enable students to engage and thrive in a digital world. In elementary school, students are introduced to computer systems, learn how to multi-step solutions are carried out in programs, and build awareness of safe and responsible device use. In middle school, the focus expands on computational thinking and information processing skills. Middle and high school computer science courses then deepen conceptual understanding, algorithmic reasoning, and design while preparing students for post-secondary opportunities. In 24-25, VBCPS utilized 3 VDE Advancing Computer Science Education grants to expand computer science integration. These grants support developing integrated math, science, and social studies lessons while also growing AP computer science through teacher training and student engagement. For the 2025-26 school year, Department of Teaching and Learning continue to focus on the development of high-quality professional learning resources and professional development for our teachers. We applied for 2 additional grants in partnership with Old Dominion University through VDOE and are proud to announce we are awarded the Advancing Computer Science Education Grant for integration in middle school science valued at $71,351.21, which will support funding for high-quality professional learning and development of computer science lessons that are fully embedded into middle school science. We'll now transition to math, our last detail update. We now move to math updates. I want to begin our conversation with a review of the NWA MAP fall mathematics data. The NWA MAP achievement data represents students' current levels of academic performance and growth over time measured against national norms. The slide shows the fall 25-26 math data for grades 2 through 8 and for Algebra 1 in grades 7 through 9. At the division level, this data is used to evaluate overall trends, identify areas of strength and need, determine programmatic changes that may be needed in curriculum intervention, and guide resource allocation. At the school and student levels, it helps educators set goals, differentiate instruction, and monitor progress. Data at the student levels can be used in unison with other information such as classroom observations, formative assessments, SOL assessments, etc., to develop a comprehensive view of the individual student levels and math proficiency. We'll now review the Virginia SOL assessment data from spring of 23 through 25, and here we revisit the 3-year trend for grades 3 through 8, as well as Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. For grades 3 and 5, you'll see an increase of 1 to 3 points, something we are very proud of after a year of new standard implementation. In middle school, grade 6 experienced a 5-point decline, grade 7 a 4-point decline, and grade 8 a 1-point decline. Algebra 1 remained the same, while Algebra 2 increased by 2 points and Geometry by 1 point. We believe some of the decreases in middle school can be attributed to the release of new standards. And Mr. Barrett shared back on the September 9th school board meeting, even with the changes, we continue to perform above the state average in all areas with the exception of Math 7. Each year, DTAL conducts a deep analysis into the data to plan for adjustments and effective support. When reviewing the results on this slide, your attention likely goes to grade 7, and like everyone here on the line, you're eager to hear our response. Before outlining current and planned actions, I want to ensure we understand the full picture. We begin by remembering that when all students transition from grade 5 to grade 6, they enroll in one of 3 courses, which would be Math 6, Advanced Math 6, or Pre-Algebra. On the next slide, we will examine courses and their corresponding SOLs. This slide focuses on providing clarity behind the math courses which math course takes which corresponding SOL assessment and have been color-coded to guide your understanding. Example 1, you'll see in the teal row that students who take the grade 6 OL are those enrolled in Math 6 and Advanced Math 6. In the orange row, you will see that students who take the grade 7 SOL are the only students who take the Math 7 SOL. And in the green row, you will notice that students who take the grade 8 SOL are those enrolled in grade 6 Pre-Algebra, Advanced Math 7, and Math 8. With a better understanding of the course and corresponding SOL assessments, let's take a look at another perspective on the next slide. Recalling the 3-year trend, Math 7 showed a clear deficit compared to the grade levels. To better understand this challenge, we recalculated scores by grade level as opposed to by course. For example, if we average the performance of all grade 6 students enrolled in Math 6, Advanced 6, and Pre-Algebra, the average would be 74.8% and would place Virginia Beach City Public Schools 7% higher than the state. If we recalculate grade 7 in the same manner, which would combine the scores from Math 7, Advanced Math 7, and Algebra 1, the average would be 73.8%, and VBCPS would perform 6% higher than the state. Finally, if we recalculate the scores for grade 8, which would include those enrolled in Math 8, Algebra, and Geometry, we would earn a 77.6% average, and Virginia Beach City Public Schools would score 7% higher than the state. I do want to remind the board this data displayed is raw and does not account for growth or recovery. And on the next slide, I want to provide one additional perspective that further unpacks our real challenge. As a department, we dove deeper looking at the 21-22 grade 5 cohort data under the following conditions. For the students that entered grade 6 for 22-23, we removed the performance data from any student other than those enrolled in Math 6, which means we removed all accelerated learners, which would have been Advanced 6 and Pre-Algebra. For the 23-24 cohort, we did the same thing, but removed any student other than those who enrolled in Math 7, which is removing Advanced Math 7 and Algebra 1 honors. And for the 24-25 school year, removed the performance data of any student other than those enrolled in Math 8, which would remove Algebra 1 honors and Geometry. The remaining sample size we found was 831 students, and again, I remind you, this is raw data that does not account for growth and recovery. What remains is the cohort of students who completed consecutive years of math courses with their corresponding math SOLs, who originated from the grade 5 cohort in 2021-2022 through spring 2025. What you see on this slide is the performance of those 831 students who met this criteria. In short, Math 7 showed a 12-point increase over Math 6 and slightly outperformed Math 8 by 0.12. Of the 831 students, 160 of those were served with an IEP, 32 were identified as English language learners, and 3 represented both categories. To give you a little bit further perspective, we backwards mapped it to 5th grade to see, so what is the dispersion like? And that is where we discovered that of the 831 spread across 55 elementary schools, that would average 15 per site. When you move to middle school, dividing by 13 traditional sites, you then move to 64 per site. With this knowledge, we are making the following adjustments to strengthen our alignment not only in our mathematical sequence, but ensuring it supports the Future Ready profile. Here you'll see detailed outline of the middle school sequence. This is a friendly reminder that when entering grade 6, students are placed in one of 3 math courses based on Policy 639 in response to the House Bill 2686 guidelines, along with our detailed developed transition rubrics. For example, a student entering Math 6 typically progresses to Math 7 and then to Math 8. In our second example, a student placed in Advanced Math 6 but who struggles may shift to Math 7 and then progress to Math 8. In our third example, a student placed in pre-algebra will progress to Algebra 1, Honors, then Geometry in grade 8. The purpose of this slide is to demonstrate there are both on and off ramps available based on student progression. By combining the requirements of Policy 639 and the detailed transition rubrics, each student will be reviewed holistically to ensure the best placement possible. I will give you a moment to review the remaining progressions displayed. On this slide, you will see the refined math sequence for high school credit courses designated for implementation in the 26-27 school year. To assist with analyzing the slide accurately, please listen to the following points of focus. The point at which students engage with their first high school credit math course may vary from grade 7 to grade 10 or 11 and begins with Algebra 1. Under the sequence, there is an expectation for all students to complete Algebra 1 and Geometry while providing all students the opportunity to take Algebra 2 prior to graduation. Algebra, Functions, and Data Analysis, also known as AFDA, will be reaffirmed as a bridge course from Geometry to Algebra 2, which is a course designed to bridge any gaps for students who successfully complete Geometry but are not quite ready for Algebra 2. Sequences highlighted in blue promote STEM, statistics, computer science, and other future-ready pathways, allowing access to college and career paths for all students. This revised sequence allows us to focus on streamlining course offerings with 3 simple outcomes. First, eliminate barriers for students who transfer in and out of Virginia Beach City Public Schools that better supports transient communities, especially our military populations, as several neighboring states list Algebra 2 as a graduation requirement. Second, reduce the number of teacher preps that would allow for more opportunities for collaboration through our professional learning communities, also known as PLCs. And third, better prepare students for exams such as the PSAT, SAT, and ASVAB. To fully implement this sequence, it's important to note the following. We would sunset computer programming and tandem courses such as discrete math, trigonometry, and semester-long probability and statistics. We would establish an Algebra 2 honors course, which you will learn about shortly this evening, or later this evening in a separate presentation. We would increase the probability and statistics course from a semester to a year-long to again focus on depth over breadth, along with key essentials necessary for college and career readiness well into your senior year. And we would promote data science as a new option better aligned to the Future Ready profile. With the refined math sequence, we will now review a summary of made or in progress actions on the next slide. With the refined math sequence set for 26-27, we return to the action steps already completed by our department as well as those in progress. I'll pause so you can view just a few of the steps we are taking in partnership with the Department of School Leadership and school leaders to respond to the needs of our schools. From spring through summer, the Department of Teaching and Learning team worked with teachers and coaches across the division to refine the curriculum sequencing and assessment design. Middle school courses saw refinements in topic sequencing, while unit assessments were revised to ensure balanced rigor using the Virginia Department of Education performance level descriptors, known as PLDs, helping better measure student proficiency and guide intervention. Essential professional learning sessions were held over the summer, with more planned throughout the year, including customized sessions at individual schools. Targeted academic support resources were developed to save middle school teachers time and provide aligned interventions and extensions for use during Thrive Time. Additionally, K-12 leaders collaborated during Principal League meetings to refine student placement rubrics for a more holistic approach as they progress from not only elementary to middle, but middle to high school. We have also designed a new opportunity and developed professional learning for a cohort of teachers from select schools focused on mathematical instructional best practices, with emphasis on critical thinking and math process standards. Participants were identified based on student performance data and educator experience, with representation from both middle and high school levels, which includes 29 teachers from 15 schools, with an explicit focus on Math 6, Math 7, Math 8, and Algebra 1 at the high school level. As you can see, we continue to stay engaged and ready to serve our dedicated teachers, administrators, and instructional coaches and teacher assistants on the front lines who work incredibly hard to meet the needs of all students. We thank you for your attention, and our team is standing by ready to answer what questions you may have. Thank you.
Mr. Callen?
Thank you. Slide 9. You have a sample task with a compelling question.
Yes.
This may be taking us off course a little bit, and if so, I'll apologize if that's the reality, but it left me with an interesting realization. Since computer science was one of the subject matters that you addressed in your presentation, this served as a perfect example for me as I continue my journey down the world of technology and AI-related information. It was easy to just feed the database with the question of to what extent did Manifest Destiny benefit the United States and at what cost? In a matter of seconds, I had a robust response to that very complicated question involving lots of different perspectives from a historical point of view. The question that may be off course was this: in our challenge of addressing AI and having people confronted with the difficult task of exploring, understanding, assessing, and evaluating questions such as this, and at the same time having students equipped with pieces of technology in their possession where this is, I'm assuming, available at the touch of a button, how do we handle the question of addressing the ability to access such detailed information at the click of a button instead of rigorous research that used to accompany the process of answering a question like this? And secondarily, since we're trying to create a process whereby people develop the art of critical thinking, what struck me as the analysis of the question that AI brought to my attention after I asked the question was the fact that there were lots of value judgments incorporated into the answer that was provided, which made me come away with the impression that, gosh, this tool is astonishing in what information it can make available at the touch of a button. But it's also not teaching me the art of how to think. It's actually slanting the information in a way of, this is what you should think when a question like this comes up. So I know that question went down 17 rabbit trails, and I apologize for that in my introduction, but this is what a question like this in the world of AI and our attempt to try and get our hands wrapped around it and teach people the art of critical thinking, as well as teaching them how to think instead of what to think. And so I'll stop since I'm finding I'm repeating myself a little bit, so I apologize for that. But that's my question in a broad-based way. Go for it.
I saw Dr. Colucci's light come on, so I'm going to let her go first. I know better. So I'll defer to her, and if I can add anything in, I'll be happy to do so.
Because I think what you described, Mr. Callan, is a perfect example of why it is so critical that we do educate our students and that we provide high-quality professional learning to our teachers. If you recall, we talked about AI-resistant lesson plans and learning design. We've put guardrails in place with the school board's feedback, the community's feedback. So our teachers have the ability to turn off access on our Chromebooks to Google Gemini at the high school level. And of course, our middle school and elementary students wouldn't have access via their Chromebooks. And our cell phone policy would prohibit usage of that. So we're deeply invested in exactly what that concern is, that our students who are using these things at home may be limiting their critical thinking skills. So we are going to be requiring them to cite their evidence, use the directions on the LAVC2, which is a secured testing environment, which Mr. Lovejoy could speak to more about those guidelines that he has to ensure are implemented when we're giving these types of rigorous assessments. So on something like this, they would not have access to that.
Wow. Good
We
luck
have
and
to
God
keep
bless you
learning.
as you attempt to try and steer this ship through all these turbulent waters, because this has
Thank
got
you.
to be terribly difficult with, again, the example that's presented here on this page. So thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Ms. Rogers?
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just wanted to clarify, you said Sunset Computer Program and Tandem Courses, and you mentioned the probability and statistics with discrete math and trigonometry. And I'm sorry, that's on slide 21.
I got you.
I see you flipping.
Already going.
And then further down, you said expand probability and statistics to a year-long course. So would that take kind of the half credit probability and stats with the discrete math and trigonometry and kind of slide it into that year-long? Is that the purpose, or is it different?
Mostly correct in your analysis. So one, we would take that semester probability stat course and make it a year-long course. Give them a chance to go a lot deeper in the material, hit the depth and complexity. And obviously with math, it's a lot about confidence. It's the only subject where confidence takes a hit pretty quick. And bouncing back, I see the look on some faces. You've had that same experience I had. Thank goodness for those good math teachers. So that would be that. To sunset discrete, the half or the semester-long prob stat, as well as computer crime, will come off the course request list. And it would free up space. It would reduce the number of preps that teachers, because you could have multiple preps just by having those little spots they go through. So hopefully it will also support the master schedulers, create a more fluid schedule.
Okay.
And as you look at the sequence, it's going to drive them in that path. It's going to take them a little bit more focused, again, but give teachers that opportunity to be able to kind of refine their learning plans in a way where they have the time to do so, as opposed to how many they have to plan.
And so when we're sunsetting this, and the reason I'm asking, I have a high schooler, and obviously, you're taking credits, and you've got, AB classes, and then you've got 4x4s, and so I just want to make sure that when we're sunsetting this, we're not messing up somebody in their junior or senior year that was planning on taking this as a 4x4 to get this class in that they need, and now suddenly they have to take a year long. And do you see what I'm saying? Like, I just want to make sure that we aren't doing that to some of our older students.
No, absolutely a great question. You always want to look for the unintended outcomes. We are meeting with high school principals again on the 6th of November to talk about what we call future ready registration.
Okay.
We're working with Mr. Jameson in his office to really refine that conversation that we have. So to kind of push in a more focused direction, how can we have better conversations to get kids in the courses that they really need to take and should, maybe just don't understand what that course is. I've gotten a really good lesson on data science. I had no idea what data science was until I talked to the team. I was like, oh, that's what that, I would have taken that. So I think elevating the knowledge level of the students so they can get an idea of, like, I don't want to take math, I got my credits, versus, no, let's go ahead and get you set up for the next 4, or, your career path, or, maybe we'll elevate your score in that ASVAB so that when you get into the military, you got a few more choices on that plate of where you want to go and what you want to do. So that's kind of the end game that we're looking at for refining that pathway.
Perfect. And then my last question is on slide 22. the curriculum refinements for middle school. I just want to make sure that, our elementary and middle school teachers, especially with all of the changes to language arts and all of the state changes, that we are doing revisions, but we're giving them enough time to then create for their classroom and planning to create, that they're not having to do the state usually gives us a very heavy lift with no time. So I don't want to put that on our staff within our own division.
And you are right, and we appreciate you acknowledging that, and we're always keeping that in mind. A lot of the committee work will happen in the late spring, early summer. It is very much teacher-driven. The committees, they go through, reorganize, they tell us what they like, what they don't, what they need. With the late adoption of the math standards, we were scrambling to get done, which we all experienced, and, it makes you feel a certain kind of way. On the flip side, you can now go back and really say, all right, what worked versus what was not in the best order. And so we've taken that feedback and completely reorganized based, again, on teacher, and I shouldn't just say teacher, but coaches, specialists.
Yes.
We've talked to administrators with oversight over mathematics, to really dial in. We'll do it again, because it's, sometimes third time's the charm. So we'll see how this goes as we continue to deal with the legislation from VDOA. They always keep us on our toes.
I know. I just want to make sure that we're not within our own division creating more than the state's already put on us. That's all.
We definitely don't wish to do that, and we will always be reflective. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions. The first one is, and it's mostly because I know that as we move to, there's an abbreviation, LVAC, is that correct?
LAVC or the LAC? Which level?
The
Elementary, middle, or high
locally
school?
verified credits. So I'm talking about the history here.
Yes, ma'am.
I recognize the double-edged sword of the SOLs sometimes, and, some of the challenges that they create. And then I also recognize some of the oversight that produces. So what type of oversight is in place for that SOL, where we're verifying that, they've passed this SOL with a performance-based task, and how are we verifying that to the state, that they're up to standard?
All right, so much like the World Series last night, I'm going to go to the bullpen and call Chad Gangwar and Taylor Lovejoy to come speak to you, and they can articulate in reverse order from the LAVC2, what we've done at the high school level, back to the vision that Mr. Gangwar has for the elementary.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening and great question. Most of our existing protocols and procedures will remain. We still maintain standards of learning across both grades 4 and 5. A lot of what is going to be verified by the state is to be determined. All again passed with House Bill 1957 in early May last year, and so we're still awaiting a lot of guidance on that. What we have as a navigational beacon is what we have in grade 3. So when they removed the grade 3 science and social studies SOL many years ago, we implemented a process for that, for which we have teachers both cross-score, select tasks, grade those tasks, and submit to us as a verification procedure. We've been desk audited on that a number of times with no refinements from the state thus far. And we try to have at the greatest level of importance is maintain the level of rigor. What is the type of rigor that is being brought forward by the standards of learning assessment? How do we take that and couple it with a authentic task that our students are showing demonstration and the ability to showcase those tasks and not just kind of set on those pieces? We maintain a balanced assessment practice, so we will maintain our division level unit assessments. We'll continue to collect formative assessment data through the report cards and the proficiency scores there. And then this will be sort of a culminating capstone to each unit and give us the ability to really see that demonstration of learning.
Okay, and in part, I know that, there will be a lot of questions in the community as well, so I just wanted to get that explanation so that our community is also aware of what we're doing and how we're making sure that these students are still being challenged with rigorous academic opportunities. My second thing is not really a question, and I think it's probably for you. So the math, and you have here a sequencing, high school math, middle school math sequencing, and I'm going to take the opportunity to continue to advocate, as far as math and English at least go, for creating a sequencing of varying levels of those courses that our students could take that would lead them into potential things that if they were interested in going off to college, that they can kind of pick their path early and know exactly where they're going, and what is required next. You know, I don't want to share a personal story, but I actually had one with my own son where he took a math and algebra 2 instead of an algebra 2 trig, and then he could not do, I think it was pre-calculus, because he did not take that correct math at the time. And so, you know, I think that if we can make sure that it's easily available, and I know that our guidance counselors do a great job, but I think some families may see this best through sequencing. So if there is a way to kind of get the order and sequencing that people would need to get to the math or to get to that English that they may seek to get to, I would love to see that. So that's my comment on that. Thank you. And I don't see any other questions, so we are going to move on to school security, and we're going to welcome Tommy Shattuck, Director of Security and Emergency Management. We may run out of time because we're going to hard stop at 5:30, but we'll figure out how we can get back to this. But go ahead.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Robertson. So for many of you, you've seen a version of this. It's been updated. There are some of you that have not seen this. So we're going to walk you through the update from a blue ribbon panel recommendation standpoint. It'll make more sense when they go through it. And then we'll be as expeditious as possible and answer your questions. Just a reminder, when we get to answer your questions, we will do our best to answer your questions, but there may be points that we get to if it is a potential vulnerability that it's going to share. We may ask to sidebar that question. We'll get you the answer, but we may not share it publicly. With that, and it'll be Mr. Tommy Shattuck and Mr. Bobby Jameson who will talk about the mental health component related to these, which is a critical part of it, and it is also Mr. Tommy Shattuck's birthday. So with that, I'll invite him to the podium.
Best birthday ever. Good afternoon. Yeah. My name is Thomas Shattuck, and I am the Director of the Office of Security and Emergency Management. We're on our way. At Virginia Beach City Public Schools, we approach school safety as a shared mission, one that combines preparedness, prevention, and partnership. Our work is grounded in a simple belief that a safe and secure learning environment is essential for effective teaching and learning. Our approach to security is holistic. Security and mental health are interconnected, and we recognize that addressing the emotional well-being of our students is vital to preventing crises before they occur. Collaboration with our counseling and behavioral health teams remains an essential part of our overall safety strategy. Today, Robert Jameson and I are proud to share our division's accomplishments in furthering our mission of providing the safest environment for our amazing students and dedicated staff. In 2018, representatives from the Virginia Beach City Public Schools, the Virginia Beach Police Department, the United States Navy, and several other community members convened a blue ribbon panel on school safety and security. That panel laid the foundation for our comprehensive approach to school safety, one that combines physical security, emergency preparedness, mental health support, and community partnerships. While the Blue Ribbon Panel laid the cornerstone of our security initiatives, we continuously engage with various stakeholders throughout the community to ensure our school division remains an industry leader in school safety and student well-being. Today's presentation highlights the progress the division has made in keeping fidelity with both the recommendations from the Blue Ribbon Panel and school security best practices. The next two slides, this slide included, summarizes the recommendations from the Blue Ribbon Panel, which focus on the following categories. As you can see in the top screen, safety protocols, emergency preparedness, safety infrastructure, and security personnel. And I'm going to go through all 8 of those points in the presentation one by one as we go through. Give you a few seconds to read. Good. Okay. And the next slide with Mr. Jamison's speaking points. And the recommendation from the Bruin panel regarding Mr. Jamison's categories would be increased behavioral mental health staff, increased mental health awareness, and increased community engagement and collaboration. Recommendation, refine and expand training exercises. The Office of Security Emergency Management, or OSEM, continually provides a wide range of emergency response training designed to enhance preparedness across our schools. Our team consists of subject matter experts with extensive backgrounds in law enforcement, military leadership, and school administration. Leaning on this expertise, our team facilitates tabletop exercises with our school leadership teams, school administrators, and staff, to include security personnel. Tabletop exercises serve to enhance organizational preparedness, improve communication, and identify potential weaknesses in response plans. Our goal is to make emergency preparedness a continuous embedded practice, not a one-time event. Recommendation, implement a robust system of preventive security. The RAVE Alert System is a cell phone application that enables the user to notify 911 of specific emergency situations while simultaneously notifying other personnel within their geographical area. Our team is in the final phase of implementation of the RAVE system, and we expect to have division-wide access to all staff by January 2026. Additionally, we are in the process of installing mass notification devices in all school buildings. These devices, when paired with public address systems, allow school personnel to quickly place a building in the appropriate safety posture at the touch of a button. We have also installed LED message boards that, when synced with the mass notification devices, will provide an additional layer of emergency notification, especially for our hearing impaired students and staff. Excuse me. Next slide. Conduct more frequent and unannounced safety audits. Accountability remains a cornerstone of school safety. OSEM conducts annual school safety audits, unannounced entry reviews, and ongoing patrols of all campuses. We also review crisis response team handbooks and emergency drill management data to ensure compliance with state code and best practices. These unannounced checks help ensure that safety procedures are more than policies, they're active daily habits. Strengthen procedures for controlling access. Controlling access is one of the most effective ways to prevent incidents. Effective key control in schools is essential to maintaining a secure learning environment by ensuring that only authorized personnel have access to buildings and restricted areas. Proper management of keys help prevent unauthorized entry, theft, and potential safety risks. A well-organized key control system also supports accountability and quick response during emergencies. Our office has placed a significant emphasis on expanding the number of access control devices. These systems allow authorized personnel to utilize their ID cards to access our buildings. Access can be quickly removed should an ID become lost or stolen. Simple actions like ensuring doors remain closed and locked have an enormous impact on campus security. And I addressed this in our summer presentation a few months ago. Recommendation, reevaluate the security personnel program. Our security personnel program continues to grow stronger each year. As a reminder from my last presentation to the school board, our coordinators and myself are state-certified instructors, enabling our division to conduct in-house certification training for our 275 security assistants. As I mentioned previously in presentations, we've added a second security officer to every elementary school and expanded the Armed School Security Officer 2 program by recruiting and hiring highly qualified former law enforcement professionals. These enhancements ensure our schools are staffed by capable, trained professionals who know our students and our communities. Evaluate and increase the use of cameras and sensors. Technology continues to play a critical role in prevention and response. Since 2019, we've increased our number of cameras by 14%, replacing outdated analog systems with high-definition, compatible digital cameras. In order to support all of the functionality offered by our enhanced camera systems, OSEM has purchased additional desktop computers that are assigned exclusively to the security desk. These upgrades allow real-time visibility, analytics, and improved coordination with our public safety partners. Strengthen infrastructure for securing classrooms and school sites. Every classroom in Virginia Beach City Public Schools has a means to lock their doors. Routine inspections ensure first-story classroom windows are also secure. Classroom doors and windows are inspected annually by building leaders, maintenance services, and our OSIM audit team. Additionally, our OSIM school security officers conduct routine patrols of our campuses both day and night. I like that picture. Collaboration with Virginia Beach Police Department collaboration with Virginia Beach Police Department and Safety Task Force. Collaboration is essential to our success. OSIM works hand in hand with the Virginia Beach Police Department through joint scenario-based training, the implementation of the SRO program, and serving together on committees such as the Gun Violence Prevention Program and the Juvenile Justice Committee. As I have previously stated, I cannot thank the Virginia Beach Police Department enough for their dedication and unwavering support to our school division. Thank you. All right. The Virginia Beach School Safety Task Force intent is to enable all stakeholders involved in supporting school safety and security to work collaboratively to address and prioritize areas for continuous improvement. The task force meets quarterly to discuss emerging topics in the field of school security. In addition to improving our security processes and initiatives, the task force has been a tremendous success in building relationships amongst various stakeholders. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Robert Jameson to the podium. Coach. Yes, sir.
So I'm not sure how much time your set of slides, your slides are going to take, so.
I can make it happen.
Okay. Don't take any breaths.
Well, can we speak? That's right. No punctuation. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Brown, Vice Chair Weems, members of the school board, and Dr. Robertson. My name is Robert Jameson, Executive Director, Office of Student Support Services. In terms of brevity, recommendation number 9 asks VBCPS to allocate additional positions to support students exhibiting mental health needs. The Office of Student Support Services received additional allocations for psychologists, behavior intervention specialists, and school counselors during the 2019-2020 school year. The staffing shortage across the country for psychologists impacted our ability to fill these allocations. However, after creating a psychometrist position to increase the pool of candidates to fill these vacancies, we are now almost fully staffed with only 1 vacancy. The school division steadily increased the number of behavior intervention specialists since 2020, and we now have all allocations filled. Similarly, we increased the number of elementary school counselor positions, along with the number of high school counselor positions over the past 6 years. When we shared the original Blue Ribbon Panel recommendations, we also communicated the need not to solely rely on existing social workers, psychologists, and school counselors to address mental health needs. So I just want to offer a quick reminder about the work of our mental health task force, as it is directly related to this work here today for the Blue Ribbon Panel. As part of recommendation number 10, we'll see how far we get. The Blue Ribbon Panel's objectives to integrate bullying prevention, positive relationships and social media ethics, support the development and implementation of additional division-wide mental health awareness training, and provide training for administrators on threat assessments. We have worked to create additional bullying awareness prevention lessons and made a concerted effort to promote pro-social behaviors at all schools with specific lessons curated by school counselors and health and PE teachers. As part of the annual mandatory employee training in the previous years, all school staff completed the student mental health training module. And this course provided an overview of when student behavior warrants brings to light mental health concerns and warrants school staff to then refer students to qualified school personnel. Since 2019-2020, just to point out, the Offices of Student Support Services, Student Leadership, and Security and Emergency Management have collaborated each year to organize resources, update protocols and procedures, and provide training to staff on the threat assessment process. In addition to specific training opportunities mentioned on the previous slide, our school division has offered a variety of professional learning opportunities for each of the past 6 years related to behavioral and mental health. Several examples are on the screen. Each of these have been offered multiple times over the past few years. The Blue Ribbon Panel asked our school division to secure the assistance of partner agencies, particularly the Department of Human Services, and when student misbehavior impacts this learning environment, to develop strategies and solutions related to school safety and students' mental health. This slide shows a short list of the mental health agencies and organizations we work with regularly to support students, staff, and families. Last slide. Rather than read this script, here's what I will share. We have created quite a few partnerships, again, with Virginia Beach Police Department. Two in particular are the Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence, which are a set of lessons that we will be implementing with student support specialists, school counselors, and SROs at our middle schools, particularly Renaissance Academy for grades 6 through 12. And we also have the partnership for EMS and VBPD as part of that group with Handle with Care, where once we know of a situation in the community that impacts a student that could be one of a traumatic experience, school staff will simply be told this student may need additional assistance. Please handle that student with care. And as you see at the bottom slide, or the bottom part of the slide, additional training has also been provided to students and staff in terms of recognizing mental health concerns and knowing how to respond, use of 988, as well as the Marcus Alert, which allows for the appropriate response in the community when a student or person may have violated one of our local laws, but it could be attributed to a mental health concern. So that Marcus Alert allows for appropriate CIT trained staff to respond in addition to mental health supports being provided to that person in the community. This time, that concludes our presentation. Available for any questions.
Okay, so I think I want to take a pulse first if there are any questions from board members related to this, and yes. And I'm going to suggest to my colleagues that we consider moving the questions portion of this to information A, because we have staff here that typically doesn't stay till the end of the meeting so that they can go home. So I will ask that we do that when we get to the adoption of the agenda. So we're going to adjourn this informal session, and we will return at 6 p.m. for a formal session.